Welcome to the Baboom Baboom podcast, your go-to source for expert tips on car stereo installation, vehicle wiring, and all things wiring related. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting started, we've got the advice to help you power up your ride. Get ready to crank up the volume on your knowledge and make your next wiring project a success.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah,
Today we're going to be talking about something that can totally transform your driving experience.
absolutely.
We're going to be learning how to install a subwoofer and amp in your car.
That's right.
And to help us out with all the technical details, we'll be referencing a guide from Baboom Baboom.
Great resource.
Yeah, they're like a website that's got a ton of information about car audio for enthusiasts of all levels.
Yeah, they're a great resource for anyone who wants to improve their car audio system.
So if you're ready to turn your car into a concert hall on wheels, then stick with us.
Let's get started.
All right, so before we even start talking about amps and wires and all that,
Right.
let's talk about safety.
Yeah, safety first.
That's super important, before you even touch anything.
Absolutely.
Disconnect the negative terminal of your car battery.
Yeah.
Seriously, this is not a step you want to skip.
No, you don't want to get shocked.
Exactly. So disconnect that battery first.
First thing you do.
Okay, so once you've got the battery disconnected,
Yep.
we can start gathering our gear.
All right, what are we going to need?
So you'll need an amplifier wiring kit,
Okay.
and that usually comes with power and ground wires, a fuse holder, a remote turn-on wire, and RCA cables.
Gotcha.
Then you're going to need speaker wire to connect the amp and subwoofer.
Okay.
I think 12 or 14 gauge should be fine for most setups.
Yeah, that's a good starting point.
And then, of course, you'll need the stars of the show.
The subwoofer and the amp.
Yeah, exactly. The subwoofer and the amplifier.
The GATA.
And make sure that they're compatible in terms of power and impedance.
Right. Impedance is the resistance that a speaker offers to the electrical current.
So matching the impedance of your subwoofer and amp, make sure that they work well together.
Exactly. It ensures that they deliver the best power and sound quality.
Okay, so once we've got all of our components, we can move on to the tools.
All right, so what tools are we going to need?
So you'll need wire strippers, crimpers, and electrical tape.
Okay, basic tools that most people probably have already.
Yeah, if you've done any sort of electrical work, then you probably have these already.
Makes sense.
Okay, so let's get into the wiring basics.
All right, let's do it.
What are we actually trying to do here?
So essentially, we're creating a pathway for both power and sound.
Okay.
It's like setting up a mini power grid for your amp and a high-fidelity pipeline for your audio signal.
Gotcha. So we're basically creating a dedicated electrical system for the audio.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay, so what are the main steps involved in creating these pathways?
So there are 4 key steps.
Okay, lay it on me.
First, we power the amp directly from the battery using a thick power wire.
Okay.
Second, we ground the amp for stability and to eliminate any unwanted electrical noise.
So the ground is important for both the sound and the safety.
Exactly.
Got it.
Third, we run RCA cables to carry the audio signal from your head unit to the amp.
Okay.
And we also run a remote wire to control the amp's on-off function.
So the head unit is basically controlling the amp.
Yes, the head unit is the brains of the operation.
Okay, and what's the last step?
Finally, we connect the subwoofer to the amp's output, completing the circuit.
Awesome. So that's the basic flow of power and signal.
That's right.
So let's break down each step in more detail.
Okay, sounds good.
So first up, mounting the amp.
Right.
Where's the best place to put this thing?
Well, you want to find a stable and well-ventilated location.
Okay.
Under a seat or in the trunk are popular choices.
But it really depends on your vehicle and what you prefer.
Exactly.
I guess you just want to make sure it's secure and has good airflow.
Right. You don't want it to overheat.
Okay, so once we've found the perfect spot for the amp,
Yes.
what do we do next?
We need to run the power wire from the positive battery terminal to the amp.
Okay.
And this is where that fuse near the battery comes in.
Yeah, the fuse is super important, right?
It's crucial.
So what does the fuse actually do?
It acts like a safety valve, protecting your entire electrical system from overloads.
It's like a bodyguard for our car's electrical system.
Exactly. It prevents electrical surges from damaging your equipment.
So make sure you use the correct fuse.
Absolutely.
And how should we route the power wire?
You'll want to route it through the firewall and along the car's frame.
Okay.
Avoid any sharp edges that could damage the wire.
Makes sense. So what about grounding the amp?
So for a solid ground connection,
Yeah.
you want to find a clean bare metal surface on the car's chassis.
Clean bare metal.
Yes, a poor ground connection is like trying to build a house on shaky foundations.
So we need a solid foundation for our amp.
Exactly.
Need top-quality electrical wire? Baboom Baboom's got you covered. Get your 6-pack today. Each combo comes in 6 different colors and a total of 600 feet of wire. Perfect for any project, and you won't find a better price in the industry. Head over to baboombaboom.com now to snag yours. That's baboombaboom.com.
Okay, so now we've got the power and ground taken care of.
Right?
Let's move on to the audio signal.
Okay, so this is where those RCA cables come in.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that they carry the music signal, right?
Exactly. They transmit that pure, unadulterated music from your head unit to the amp.
So it's like a direct connection between the source and the amp.
Exactly. This direct connection ensures optimal sound quality.
That's awesome.
And don't forget about that remote wire.
Oh, yeah. What does that do again?
It tells the amp when to turn on and off.
So it's connected to the head unit.
Right. So when you turn on your car stereo, the remote wire signals the amp to power up.
And when you turn off the stereo, the amp powers down.
Exactly. It keeps everything in sync.
So the remote wire is like the messenger between the head unit and the amp.
Precisely. It's a small but important part of the system.
Cool. So now we've got power ground and signal all wired up.
Yep. We're almost there.
I'm getting excited to hear how this all sounds.
Me too. But before we get to that, there are a few more things to cover.
Oh, okay. What else is there?
We need to talk about connecting the subwoofer and then testing and fine-tuning the system.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We still have to connect the subwoofer.
That's the heart of the system.
I'm ready to feel that bass.
Me too. But let's make sure we do it right.
All right, so let's dive into connecting the subwoofer next.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's get that subwoofer hooked up.
Okay, so we're going to connect the subwoofer to the amp.
Seems pretty straightforward, but is there anything we should watch out for?
Yeah, definitely make sure you match the positive and negative terminals carefully. When you're connecting the sub to the amp, you got to get that speaker polarity right.
What happens if we get it wrong?
You'll end up with weak bass and a muddy sound.
Oh, no, not muddy sound.
Nobody wants that.
Right, so double check those connections.
Absolutely.
I remember you mentioning wire gauge earlier.
Yeah.
How does that play into connecting the sub?
So choosing the right wire gauge is super important for getting the best performance from your subwoofer.
Yeah.
Think of the wire like a water pipe.
Huh.
A thicker pipe can handle more water flow,
Right.
and a thicker wire can handle more electrical current, which means better power transfer from the amp to the sub.
So thicker wire equals better bass?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so we should stick with that 12 or 14 gauge wire we talked about.
Yeah, that'll minimize power loss and make sure your sub can really pump out those low frequencies.
Sweet. I can't wait.
Me neither.
Okay, so we've wired everything up.
Yep.
Can we reconnect the battery now?
Yes, you can reconnect the battery.
Awesome.
But before you crank up the volume,
Okay.
we got to talk about testing and fine-tuning.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
This is where things get a little tricky.
So where do we start?
Okay, so first, turn your car stereo on and set the volume to a low level.
Right.
Gradually increase the volume and listen for any strange noises,
Like what kind of noises?
like buzzing, humming, or distortion.
Okay, so if we hear buzzing or humming,
Yeah.
what could that mean?
It could indicate a grounding issue.
Oh, so we might need to find a better ground connection for the amp.
Exactly.
What about distortion?
That could mean the gain on your amp is set too high.
What's gain?
It's basically a volume control for your amplifier.
Okay.
It determines how much the amp boosts the incoming audio signal.
So if the gain is too high, it can cause distortion.
Yeah, if the amp is clipping the signal, you'll hear distortion.
So we want to find that sweet spot where the gain is high enough but not too high.
Exactly. You want plenty of power without the distortion.
Makes sense. What about bass boost?
Oh yeah, bass boost.
Baboom Baboom mentioned that.
So bass boost is a cool feature.
What does it do?
It amplifies the low frequencies, giving that extra thump.
I like thump.
Everyone likes thump.
But too much bass boost can be bad, right?
Yeah, it can make the sound muddy or boomy.
Oh, right. We don't want that.
Nope.
So it's all about finding the right balance?
Exactly the right balance for your taste and the type of music you listen to.
Okay.
Testing and fine-tuning takes time,
Got it.
but it's so worth it to get the best possible sound.
I'm definitely willing to put in the time.
Me too.
Baboom Baboom also had some pro tips for getting the most out of our new system.
Oh yeah, they had some good ones.
What were some of the things we should keep in mind?
Okay, so first, keep those power and signal cables separated.
Okay, why is that?
Running them side by side can cause interference.
Oh, like electrical interference.
Yep, that can lead to unwanted noise.
So it's like keeping your phone charger away from your speaker?
Exactly. You don't want that buzzing sound.
Okay.
Don't forget about organization.
Okay.
Use zip ties to secure all the wires neatly.
So they don't rattle around.
Yeah, you don't want a bunch of loose wires in your car.
It's like cable management for your audio system.
That's a good way to put it.
What's the last pro tip?
Okay, so this one's important.
I'm listening.
Don't crank up the bass to the max all the time.
Well, why not?
It can damage your speakers or amp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pushing your equipment too hard can cause overheating.
So moderation is key.
Exactly.
I can do that.
I think we all can.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Safety precautions, basic wiring concepts, fine-tuning pro tips.
It's been a journey.
What are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, we started by emphasizing safety. Always disconnect the battery first.
Right, safety first.
Then we talked about creating a pathway for power and sound.
Those 4 main steps.
Yep, powering the amp, grounding it, running RCA cables, and the remote wire, and connecting the subwoofer.
And we talked about compatibility, impedance, wire gauge.
We covered it all.
What about the fuse?
Oh yeah, the fuse is crucial. It protects your electrical system.
And a solid ground connection.
Absolutely.
And keeping those power and signal cables separated.
Yep, no interference.
Then we got to the fun part, testing and fine-tuning.
That's where the magic happens.
Using the gain and bass boost controls.
Finding that perfect sound.
And listening for any weird noises.
Always a good idea.
And finally, those pro tips.
Keep it clean, keep it organized, and don't overdo it.
Words to live by.
I think so.
So there you have it, folks.
You've learned how to transform your car into a mobile sound studio.
It's not just about loud bass.
It's about clarity depth and immersing yourself in the music.
Yeah, it's about like creating that perfect listening environment, you know?
Exactly. And now that you understand the basics,
Yeah.
the possibilities are endless.
Right, like, and now we can start thinking about upgrading our speakers.
Yeah.
Maybe add some sound deadening material to reduce road noise.
Right. Oh,
Or even dive into some more advanced signal processing.
there's so much you can do.
Yeah, the possibilities really are endless.
And the learning never stops.
No.
Like there are always new technologies and techniques and components coming out.
That's what makes it exciting.
Exactly.
So we've only scratched the surface here.
Yeah,
But hopefully this deep dive has given you a good foundation.
I think so.
You've learned the how-to, but more importantly, you've learned the why.
Right.
And that'll help you make better decisions as you go deeper into car audio.
Exactly.
So what are you waiting for?
Go for it.
Grab your tools and transform your car into the ultimate listening space.
And remember, this knowledge isn't just about car audio.
That's true.
It's about understanding electronics power flow, signal transmission.
Yeah, these concepts apply to lots of different things.
Exactly.
So we've empowered you with the knowledge to not only rock out in your car,
Yeah,
but to tackle other DIY projects as well.
that's right.
So go out there, explore, experiment,
And most importantly,
enjoy the ride.
literally and sonically.
That's it for our deep dive into wiring an amp to a subwoofer and head unit.
Hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit entertaining.
We had fun.
Yeah, and remember, this is all about empowering you.
Yeah, take control of your sound.
It's not just about following instructions. It's about understanding the system, making informed choices, and maybe even inspiring you to tinker and experiment.
Yeah, get creative.
Who knows, maybe this deep dive will spark a lifelong passion for audio.
That would be awesome.
Until next time, keep those ears open.
And the music playing.
See ya.
Need top-quality electrical wire? Baboom Baboom's got you covered. Get your 6-pack today. Each combo comes in 6 different colors and a total of 600 feet of wire. Perfect for any project, and you won't find a better price in the industry. Head over to baboombaboom.com now to snag yours. That's baboombaboom.com.